Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to reflect on the intricate dynamics between men and women. Relationships, while beautiful, can be challenging and sometimes confusing. Today, I want to address something that isn't always spoken about openly: the common concerns men have when it comes to women. These aren't criticisms or complaints, but rather the thoughts and questions men wrestle with in their hearts and minds, often in silence. If we are to foster better understanding and deeper connections, it's important to bring these conversations to light. One of the most common concerns men have is about emotional communication. Many men find themselves overwhelmed or confused by the emotional complexity women express. It's not that men don't care or don't want to understand, it's often that they've been conditioned to suppress their own emotions, making it challenging to engage fully in a conversation that's emotionally charged. Men want to be supportive, but they sometimes worry that they'll say the wrong thing or that their efforts to help might be misunderstood. They may think, am I supposed to offer a solution, or do I just listen? This concern can create hesitation and even withdrawal, not because they don't value the relationship, but because they deeply care. Another significant concern is trust, more specifically, the fear of being vulnerable. Men often hesitate to open up because they fear their vulnerability might be judged or used against them. Society has long told men to be strong and never show weakness, which makes it incredibly difficult to let their guard down even with someone they love. The question lingering in their minds is often, can I truly trust her with my insecurities? Men want to be seen and accepted for who they are, flaws and all, but the fear of judgment or rejection can make it difficult to fully express themselves. The third concern is about expectations. Men often feel the weight of societal and relational expectations, and they sometimes wonder if they're enough. They might ask themselves, am I doing enough to make her happy? Am I meeting her standards? This concern isn't about a lack of love or commitment. It's about the pressure to perform and provide, both emotionally and materially. Men want to be the best they can be for the women in their lives, but they also fear falling short of expectations, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy. Let's talk about independence. Men appreciate a woman's independence, but some may also feel concerned about how that independence might affect the relationship dynamic. They might wonder, does she even need me in her life? Am I adding value, or am I just an accessory? This isn't about wanting control, it's about wanting to feel like an essential and valued part of the partnership. Men want to contribute and feel needed, but they also respect a woman's autonomy, which can sometimes create internal conflict. Another common concern is related to past experiences. Men often feel uneasy about competing with the ghosts of the past. They may question, am I being compared to her ex? Does she still carry emotional baggage that might affect us? This concern isn't about jealousy, but about wanting a fair chance to build something new without the shadows of what came before. Then there's the issue of clarity. Men often crave directness in communication, but sometimes find themselves puzzled by subtle or indirect messages. They might think, what does she really mean? Am I missing something important? This concern stems from a genuine desire to understand and connect, but the fear of misinterpreting or not picking up on certain cues can leave men feeling unsure of where they stand. These concerns aren't about flaws in women, they're reflections of men's desire to connect, to love, and to be loved in return. They stem from a place of care, vulnerability, and the quest for understanding. The beauty of these concerns is that they create opportunities for growth, communication, and deeper connection when addressed with empathy and openness. Let's embrace these conversations not as barriers, but as bridges to stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Men often find themselves caught in the complexities of emotional communication, unsure of how to navigate situations where deep feelings are involved. This challenge doesn't stem from a lack of care or love, but rather from a gap in understanding and emotional conditioning. Many men have grown up in environments where emotional expression was not encouraged or valued, leading to a disconnect between what they feel and how they express it. As a result, when faced with a partner's emotional needs or expressions, they can feel unprepared, overwhelmed, or even frustrated. One of the primary reasons men struggle with emotional communication is that they are often taught to prioritize logic over emotion. From an early age, they are conditioned to solve problems, fix issues, and focus on tangible outcomes. While these traits can be valuable, they don't always translate well into the emotional realm, where solutions aren't always clear-cut, and the focus is more on connection and understanding than fixing. When a woman expresses her emotions, a man might instinctively try to provide a solution, believing that this is the best way to help. However, this approach can sometimes leave her feeling unheard or invalidated, as her goal may not be to solve the problem, but to share her feelings and feel supported. Another layer to this challenge is the fear of saying the wrong thing. Men often hesitate to engage deeply in emotional conversations because they fear that their words may be misinterpreted or might inadvertently cause more harm than good. This fear of making a mistake can lead to withdrawal or silence, which may be perceived by their partner as a lack of interest or care. In reality, this withdrawal often stems from a desire to avoid conflict or misunderstanding rather than from indifference. Men also face the difficulty of deciphering the subtle nuances of emotional expression. Women may communicate their feelings in ways that are indirect or implied, expecting their partner to pick up on these cues. For men, who are often more accustomed to direct communication, this can be confusing and lead to misinterpretation. They may struggle to understand what their partner truly needs or wants from them in these moments, which can result in frustration on both sides. To these external challenges, men also grapple with their internal emotional landscape. Many men have unresolved feelings or emotional wounds that they have never fully addressed. These unprocessed emotions can make it even harder for them to engage with their partner's feelings, as they may trigger discomfort or defensiveness. For example, if a man has been taught to suppress sadness or vulnerability, he may find it challenging to hold space for these emotions in his partner without feeling overwhelmed or retreating into himself. The societal expectation for men to remain strong and stoic further complicates the situation. Men are often told that showing emotion is a sign of weakness, which creates a barrier to authentic communication. This cultural narrative can make it difficult for men to express their own emotions, let alone respond to someone else's. They may feel the need to maintain a facade of control even when they are struggling internally, which prevents genuine connection and understanding in relationships. Despite these challenges, men deeply desire to connect with their partners on an emotional level. They want to be supportive, understanding, and present, but they often lack the tools or confidence to do so effectively. This creates a tension between their intentions and their actions, leading to feelings of inadequacy or frustration. Over time, this disconnect can strain the relationship, as both partners may feel that their needs are not being fully met. For men, learning to navigate emotional communication requires a willingness to grow and adapt. It involves letting go of old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve them, such as the idea that emotions are a weakness or that every problem must have a solution. By developing greater self-awareness and emotional intelligence, men can begin to bridge the gap between and action, creating a deeper and more fulfilling connection with their partner. The fear of vulnerability is a significant concern for many men, as it touches upon deeply ingrained beliefs about what it means to be strong, capable, and worthy. From a young age, men are often taught to suppress their emotions and maintain a stoic exterior, associating vulnerability with weakness or failure. This condition creates an internal conflict when they enter into relationships where emotional openness and connection are vital. While men may long for deep intimacy and understanding, the fear of exposing their true selves can make it challenging to fully engage in these moments. At the core of this fear lies the question of trust. Men may ask themselves, can I trust her with the parts of myself that I don't show to anyone else? Vulnerability means revealing insecurities, fears, and flaws, which feels risky in a world that often rewards confidence and certainty. For many men, there is a lingering concern that opening up could lead to judgment, rejection, or even the loss of respect from their partner. This fear is not necessarily a reflection of their partner's behavior, but rather the result of societal pressures and past experiences that have reinforced the belief that vulnerability is dangerous. To these external factors, men also face internal resistance to being vulnerable. They may have unresolved emotional wounds or traumas that make it difficult to access and share their feelings. For example, if a man has experienced betrayal or rejection in the past, he may unconsciously protect himself by keeping his emotions guarded. This self-protective mechanism can create a barrier in the relationship, as his partner may interpret his reluctance to open up as a lack of trust or emotional investment. Another layer to this fear is the expectation that men should always have the answers and be the pillar of strength in the relationship. Men often feel pressure to provide solutions, stability, and certainty, which can make vulnerability feel counterproductive. Admitting to fears or uncertainties might feel like failing to fulfill the role of protector or provider, even though sharing these emotions is a natural part of being human. This internalized expectation can lead men to suppress their feelings, prioritizing the perception of strength over the authenticity of connection. Men also worry about how their vulnerability will be received. There is a fear that being open about their struggles or insecurities could lead to their partner seeing them differently. They may think, if I show her this part of myself, will she still respect me? Will she still see me as strong? This concern is rooted in the desire to maintain a positive image in the eyes of their partner while also protecting themselves from potential emotional harm. The idea of being misunderstood or having their vulnerability used against them can be enough to discourage men from sharing their true feelings. Complicating matters further is the lack of role models for vulnerability. In many cases, men do not grow up seeing examples of emotional openness from other men, whether in their families, communities, or media representations. Without these examples, it becomes challenging to know how to navigate vulnerability in a way that feels safe and constructive. This absence of guidance leaves many men feeling like they are stepping into uncharted territory when they attempt to open up in their relationships. Despite these fears and barriers, the desire for connection remains strong. Men deeply want to be seen and understood for who they are, but the fear of vulnerability creates a paradox. On one hand, they yearn for the intimacy that comes from being fully known. On the other, they fear the potential pain that could result from exposing their innermost thoughts and feelings. This tension can lead to a cycle of avoidance where men keep their emotions hidden to protect themselves, but in doing so, miss opportunities to build deeper bonds with their partners. For men, addressing the fear of vulnerability requires a shift in perspective. It means redefining strength not as the absence of emotion, but as the courage to face and share those emotions openly. It involves recognizing that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a pathway to genuine connection and growth. By embracing vulnerability, men can begin to break free from the limitations of societal expectations and create relationships that are built on trust, authenticity, and mutual understanding. Societal and relational expectations often weigh heavily on men, creating a pervasive concern about whether they are enough for their partner. From an early age, many men are conditioned to believe that their worth is tied to their ability to provide, protect, and succeed. These expectations can lead to a deep sense of pressure as they strive to meet both external societal standards and the unique needs of their partner. While this desire to rise to the occasion often stems from a place of love and commitment, it can also create significant internal stress and self-doubt. One of the main challenges men face is the overwhelming expectation to always have it together. Society often promotes an image of the ideal man as someone who is strong, emotionally composed, and always in control. This creates a dynamic where men feel they must suppress their struggles and maintain an appearance of stability, even when they are facing difficulties. In relationships, this can translate to a belief that they must always be the rock, never showing vulnerability or admitting to challenges, which can lead to a disconnect between their authentic self and the version of themselves they present. The pressure to be a provider is another significant factor contributing to this concern. Men are often raised with the idea that their ability to contribute financially and materially is a core aspect of their value in a relationship. While many men take pride in providing for their families or partners, this expectation can become a source of anxiety, particularly in situations where financial stability is uncertain or where their partner is equally successful. The fear of not being able to meet these expectations can lead men to question their worth and feel as though they are falling short, even when their partner does not share the same emphasis on material provision. In societal pressures, relational expectations can feel equally complex. Men often feel a strong desire to meet their partner's emotional needs, but they may struggle to fully understand what those needs are or how to address them effectively. This is especially true when communication styles differ, leading to misunderstandings or feelings of inadequacy. For example, if a partner expresses frustration or dissatisfaction, a man may interpret this as a reflection of his failure to provide the support or care his partner requires, even if the issue is unrelated to him personally. This tendency to internalize relationship challenges can create a cycle of self-blame and insecurity. The modern relationship dynamic adds another layer of complexity as traditional gender roles continue to evolve. Many men find themselves navigating partnerships where their partner is independent, successful, and self-reliant. While this shift is empowering and positive, it can sometimes leave men questioning their role in the relationship. They may ask themselves, if she doesn't need me to provide or protect, what do I bring to the table? This internal question can lead to feelings of inadequacy, even in situations where their partner values and appreciates their presence in non-material ways. Media and cultural narratives further amplify these pressures by presenting an idealized version of relationships and masculinity. Men are often exposed to messages that suggest they must be everything at once: a successful professional, a loving partner, a devoted parent, and a confident individual. These unrealistic standards create a sense of constant striving as men feel they must continually prove their worth in multiple areas of their lives. The gap between these ideals and the realities of everyday life can lead to feelings of failure, even when men are doing their best. Internally, this pressure can manifest as self-doubt and a fear of not being enough. Men may struggle with the belief that no matter how hard they try, they're short in some way. This can lead to a reluctance to fully engage in their relationships or to overcompensate by trying to do everything perfectly. Over time, this constant striving can take a toll on their mental and emotional well-being as they carry the weight of expectations that may not align with their partner's actual desires or needs. For men, addressing these concerns requires a shift in mindset and a willingness to challenge societal and relational narratives. It involves recognizing that their worth is not solely defined by their ability to provide, protect, or perform, but by their authenticity, presence, and capacity to love. Building healthier perspectives around relationships and masculinity allows men to show up more fully and confidently, free from the weight of unrealistic expectations. Men often grapple with the concern of whether their partner truly values their efforts and contributions, a question that can linger in their minds and affect their sense of self-worth within the relationship. This concern stems from a natural desire to feel appreciated and acknowledged, as well as from the deeper human need to know that their actions matter. For many men, their contributions are often a way of expressing love and care, whether through acts of service, financial support, problem solving, or providing emotional stability. When these efforts go unnoticed or unacknowledged, it can lead to feelings of frustration, inadequacy, and even resentment. One of the reasons this concern arises is because men and women often express appreciation differently. Men may assume that their contributions are self-evident and do not need explicit acknowledgement, but over time, the absence of verbal or overt recognition can create doubt. For example, a man who works tirelessly to support his family or takes on responsibilities at home may wonder if his partner truly notices or values the sacrifices he makes. Even when his partner does appreciate his efforts, the lack of direct communication about it can leave him feeling unseen or underappreciated. Another factor that contributes to this concern is the societal conditioning that men face regarding their roles in relationships. Men are often raised with the expectation that their worth is tied to what they can provide, whether materially, emotionally, or otherwise. This conditioning can create a mindset where they equate their value with their output, leading to a constant need for validation through acknowledgement. When that validation is absent or inconsistent, it can amplify doubts about their contributions and lead them to question their role in the relationship. Men may struggle with interpreting the ways in which their partner shows appreciation. While one partner might express gratitude through words of affirmation or small gestures, the other might expect a more direct or overt acknowledgement. This mismatch in communication styles can create a gap in understanding, leaving men unsure of whether their efforts are truly valued. For instance, a man who surprises his partner with thoughtful acts of service may not recognize their gratitude if it is expressed in a subtle or understated manner. This disconnect can lead to misunderstandings and feelings of being taken for granted. In some cases, men may also downplay their own efforts, making it difficult for them to receive appreciation, even when it is offered. Modesty or a reluctance to take credit for their contributions can create a dynamic where their partner assumes they do not need acknowledgement. This internal resistance to receiving gratitude can be tied to a belief that seeking validation is selfish or unnecessary, even though acknowledgement is a basic human need. As a result, men may inadvertently diminish the significance of their own actions, making it harder for their partner to express appreciation in meaningful ways. The concern about feeling valued is often heightened during times of stress or change within the relationship. For example, when a couple is navigating challenges such as financial strain, parenting responsibilities, or career transitions, the focus may shift away from recognizing one another's efforts. During these periods, men may feel that their contributions are overlooked in the chaos, further deepening their concern about whether their efforts are truly appreciated. This can create a cycle of dissatisfaction where the lack of acknowledgement leads to decreased motivation to contribute, which in turn reinforces feelings of being undervalued. Men's concerns about being valued are also tied to their emotional needs, which are often overlooked or underestimated. While men may not always express their emotional vulnerabilities openly, they still crave connection and recognition from their partner. Feeling valued is not just about receiving praise for what they do, but also about being seen and appreciated for who they are. This deeper level of acknowledgement can foster a sense of belonging and purpose within the relationship, helping men feel more secure and fulfilled. Finally, the concern about being valued can be exacerbated by comparisons to others. Men may compare themselves to societal ideals, their peers, or even their partner's previous relationships, questioning whether they measure up. These comparisons can amplify feelings of inadequacy, making it even more critical for their partner to affirm and appreciate their unique contributions. Recognizing this dynamic is essential for fostering a healthier perspective and building stronger, more supportive relationships. Many men experience a deep-seated concern about whether they are truly understood by their partner, a feeling that can create distance and frustration in even the most loving relationships. This concern often arises from the differences in how men and women communicate, process emotions, and express their needs. For men, being understood is not just about their words being heard, but also about their intentions, actions, and emotions being acknowledged and validated. When this understanding feels absent, it can lead to a sense of isolation even within a close relationship. Men often struggle with articulating their emotions in ways that resonate with their partner. Societal expectations have long conditioned men to suppress vulnerability, equating emotional expression with weakness. As a result, many men grow up without the tools or language to communicate their deeper feelings effectively. When they do attempt to express themselves, they may feel misunderstood or dismissed, which reinforces their hesitation to open up. Over time, this dynamic creates a cycle where they retreat further into themselves, believing that their partner cannot truly grasp what they are experiencing. The way men and women approach problem solving can also contribute to this concern. Men often prefer to focus on solutions and action-oriented approaches when faced with challenges, both in their own lives and in their relationships. This pragmatic mindset can sometimes be misinterpreted by their partner as a lack of emotional depth or engagement. For example, a man may respond to his partner's emotional concerns by offering practical advice or suggesting ways to fix the issue, believing that this approach shows care and support. However, his partner may instead seek empathy and connection, leaving her feeling unheard and him feeling unappreciated for his efforts to help. Another layer to this concern is the fear of being judged or criticized for their thoughts and feelings. Men often worry that revealing their inner world will expose them to scrutiny or lead to conflict. This fear can stem from past experiences where vulnerability was met with dismissal, ridicule, or rejection, either in previous relationships or during their upbringing. As a result, men may choose to withhold parts of themselves, creating a barrier to deeper understanding. This self-protection mechanism, while rooted in a desire to avoid pain, can ironically prevent the emotional intimacy they crave. Cultural narratives and stereotypes also play a role in shaping this concern. Men are frequently portrayed as stoic, strong, and self-reliant, which can create a disconnect between how they are perceived and how they truly feel. In relationships, they may worry that showing their softer, more vulnerable side will challenge their partner's expectations or diminish their perceived strength. This internal conflict between societal ideals and personal authenticity makes it difficult for men to feel truly understood as they grapple with reconciling these opposing forces. The challenge of being understood is further compounded by the fact that many men process emotions internally rather than outwardly. Unlike women who often seek connection and dialogue as a way to work through their feelings, men may prefer solitude and reflection. This difference in coping styles can lead to misunderstandings, with their partner interpreting their silence as indifference or withdrawal. In reality, men may simply need time to process their emotions before they are ready to share them. However, the lack of immediate communication can create tension and leave both partners feeling disconnected. For men, the desire to be understood extends beyond words. It includes a longing for their actions and intentions to be recognized. Men often express love and care through actions rather than verbal affirmations, whether it's fixing something around the house, taking care of responsibilities, or planning thoughtful gestures. When these efforts go unnoticed or unacknowledged, it can deepen their concern about whether their partner truly sees and appreciates them. This is particularly true when their love language differs from their partner's, creating a gap in how their expressions of care are received. Men's concern about being understood also ties into their need for respect and validation. Feeling understood means more than just avoiding conflict or miscommunication. It is about knowing that their partner respects their perspective, even when they don't see eye to eye. This mutual respect fosters a sense of safety and acceptance, allowing men to share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. When this respect is absent, men may retreat emotionally, believing that their partner cannot or does not want to understand them. Finally, the concern about being understood can lead men to question the overall compatibility of the relationship. They may wonder if their partner truly knows who they are at their core, or if the relationship is based on surface level connections. These doubts can create a sense of uncertainty and hesitation, making it difficult for men to fully invest in the relationship. Addressing this concern requires intentional effort from both partners to foster open communication, empathy, and a willingness to see each other's perspectives. Men often feel a deep concern about whether their personal goals and dreams align with their partner's vision for the future, a dynamic that can create internal conflict and relational tension. This concern is rooted in the human need for a sense of purpose and partnership, where both individuals feel they are moving in a shared direction while still honoring their individual aspirations. When a man perceives that his goals are not supported or valued, it can lead to feelings of frustration, disconnection, and even resentment. One of the primary reasons this concern arises is because men tie their identity and self-worth to their ability to achieve their goals. They may see their ambitions as extensions of who they are and a way to contribute meaningfully to the relationship or family. When their partner questions or dismisses these aspirations, it can feel like a personal rejection, leading them to internalize doubts about their choices. Differences in priorities and values can also contribute to this concern. Men may have long-term goals that they have nurtured for years, shaped by their personal experiences, upbringing, or passions. However, when entering a relationship, they may discover that their partner has a different vision for the future. These differences can manifest in subtle ways, such as disagreements about financial decisions, lifestyle preferences, or career paths, or in more profound ways, like conflicting ideas about where to live or how to raise a family. Navigating these differences requires careful communication and compromise, but the fear of losing sight of their own dreams can create a lingering sense of unease. Another aspect of this concern is the fear of being perceived as selfish for prioritizing personal goals. Men may worry that pursuing their dreams will be seen as neglecting the needs of the relationship, especially if their ambitions require significant time, energy, or resources. This fear can be compounded if their partner sacrifices their own goals for the sake of the relationship, creating a dynamic where men feel guilty for focusing on their aspirations. The internal conflict between pursuing their passions and maintaining harmony in the relationship can leave them feeling stuck, unsure of how to strike the right balance. Societal pressures and expectations further exacerbate this concern. Men are often encouraged to be providers and protectors, with the implication that their goals should serve the greater good of their family or relationship. While this responsibility can be a source of pride, it can also feel limiting, as men may suppress personal ambitions that do not align with these traditional roles. For example, a man with a creative or entrepreneur dream might feel compelled to pursue a more stable career path to meet societal expectations, even if it means setting aside his true passions. This tension between societal expectations and personal fulfillment can create a sense of internal conflict and dissatisfaction. Communication challenges within the relationship also play a significant role in this concern. Men may struggle to articulate their goals and dreams in a way that resonates with their partner, particularly if they fear judgment or lack confidence in their vision. This difficulty can lead to misunderstandings, where their partner perceives their ambitions as unrealistic or unimportant. Conversely, men may misinterpret their partner's questions or concerns as a lack of support, further deepening the divide. Without open and honest dialogue, both partners can develop assumptions and frustrations that hinder their ability to work toward a shared future. The concern about aligning goals also ties into men's desire for a sense of partnership and teamwork in the relationship. Men want to feel that their partner is not only supportive of their dreams, but also an active participant in shaping a mutual vision for the future. When this sense of collaboration is absent, it can create a feeling of isolation, as though their goals exist in a separate realm from the relationship. This disconnect can lead men to question whether their ambitions are compatible with the relationship or if they are destined to choose between the two. Men may fear that pursuing their goals will strain the relationship, particularly if those goals require significant sacrifices. For example, a man pursuing a demanding career, advanced education, or a personal passion project may worry that the time and energy invested will lead to resentment or conflict with his partner. This fear can cause men to hold back or compromise their aspirations, even when they feel deeply drawn to them. The tension between wanting to honor their dreams and to protect the relationship creates an ongoing struggle that weighs heavily on their minds. Men's concern about aligning goals with their partner's vision for the future is ultimately a reflection of their desire for both personal fulfillment and relational harmony. They want to feel that their dreams are not only valid, but also valued, and that their relationship provides a foundation of support and encouragement. This sense of alignment allows men to pursue their aspirations without fear of undermining the partnership, creating a dynamic where both individuals can grow together while honoring their individual paths. Men often carry a significant concern about whether they are meeting their partner's expectations, a thought process that stems from both societal conditioning and personal insecurities. This concern isn't limited to specific areas like career success, physical appearance, or emotional availability. It permeates every aspect of the relationship. Men want to feel that they are enough, that who they are and what they bring to the table is not only sufficient, but deeply appreciated. However, when expectations, perceived or real, go unmet, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy, guilt, and even resentment, creating a sense of emotional distance. This concern is often rooted in societal narratives that have historically defined what a man should be in a relationship. Men are expected to be strong, dependable, emotionally supportive, financially stable, and at the same time, sensitive and attentive to their partner's needs. These expectations can feel overwhelming and contradictory, leaving men unsure of how to navigate their role effectively. For example, they may feel pressure to be emotionally vulnerable while simultaneously maintaining a stoic demeanor, a balancing act that is nearly impossible to sustain without internal conflict. This tension can leave men feeling as though they are constantly falling short, no matter how hard they try. Communication plays a significant role in how this concern manifests. Many men struggle with understanding their partner's expectations, especially when those expectations are not explicitly stated. While some individuals are vocal about their needs and desires in a relationship, others may expect their partner to intuitively understand what they want. For men, this can feel like navigating an unspoken set of rules, where they are left guessing about what actions or behaviors will earn approval. This guessing game can lead to frustration and miscommunication, as men may interpret their partner's silence as dissatisfaction or their feedback as criticism, even when that is not the intent. The fear of not meeting expectations often intersects with a man's internal dialogue and self-perception. Many men hold themselves to extremely high standards, believing that their worth in the relationship is tied to their ability to provide, protect, or succeed in tangible ways. If they fail to meet their own standards, they may project those feelings of inadequacy onto their partner, assuming that their partner views them as a disappointment. This internal struggle can lead men to overcompensate, working harder or sacrificing their own needs in an attempt to prove their value, which can ultimately lead to burnout or resentment. Men also face the challenge of reconciling changing dynamics in modern relationships. Traditional gender roles are evolving, and while this shift offers greater flexibility and equality, it can also create confusion about what is expected in a partnership. Men may feel unsure about how to navigate these changes, particularly if they were raised with more traditional views of masculinity and relationship. For example, they may wonder whether their partner values emotional vulnerability as much as financial stability, or whether traditional gestures of chivalry are still appreciated. This uncertainty can make it difficult for men to feel confident in their role, perpetuating the concern that they are not living up to expectations. Cultural influences, such as media portrayals of relationships, also play a role in amplifying this concern. Men are often exposed to idealized images of romance and partnership, where love is depicted as effortless and partners are always perfectly attuned to one another's needs. These unrealistic portrayals can create a false standard that men feel pressure to meet, even though real-life relationships are far more nuanced and complex. When reality falls short of these ideals, men may internalize the belief that the fault lies with them, further fueling their concern about meeting expectations. The desire to meet expectations is deeply tied to men's need for validation and approval. Men want to feel that their efforts are noticed and appreciated, that their contributions to the relationship are meaningful and valued. When this validation is absent, either because their partner does not express appreciation or because men fail to recognize it, it can lead to feelings of being taken for granted. This lack of acknowledgement can create a sense of imbalance, where men feel as though they are giving more than they are receiving, which can erode their sense of fulfillment in the relationship. Men's concern about meeting expectations is also influenced by their fear of conflict or rejection. They may worry that falling short of their partner's expectations will lead to arguments, criticism, or even the end of the relationship. This fear can cause men to avoid difficult conversations, suppress their true feelings, or agree to things that they do not genuinely want, all in an effort to maintain peace. However, these avoidance strategies often backfire as unmet needs and unresolved issues inevitably resurface, creating more tension in the long run. This concern is further complicated by the fact that men often receive conflicting messages about how to approach relationships. On one hand, they are told to be attentive and accommodating, prioritizing their partner's happiness. On the other hand, they are encouraged to assert their own needs and establish boundaries. Striking the right balance between these two approaches can feel like an impossible task, especially when men lack the tools or guidance to navigate these dynamics effectively. Without clear communication and mutual understanding, they may feel as though they are constantly walking a tightrope, trying to avoid mistakes while striving to meet expectations.